Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got some pretty cool event tonight that we're going to go do. Our sponsor with Madman's Minis are taking us on adventure. We are going to go learn how to fly some more new drones. Oh. I've already made sure that my drone is already charged up, ready to go, updated it. I haven't flown my drone since the Yukon. So, go ahead and grab my extra phone. Shut the lights off. See. I'm going to grab these Mountain Dews here. Always got to have some cold drinks with you, cold water. There wasn't enough left in that soda pop to take home. See, our current temperature right now is 82 and 72. Somebody's barbecuing. It smells good. Always with the keys in the wrong pocket. Fire the truck up. Alright, so with my sponsor, Egbert, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is out in Lehigh, so that's where we're going to be going. So, I will see you guys when we get out there. Should be a fun day. Alright guys, so this is, how do you say your name?
Alex Flower, or Madman's Minis.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Go ahead.
Madman's Minis.
With and this is some of the drones that he has. So what he's done is he's created this from his garage. So if you want to tell him a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So first off, from the messy garage. So what I do, DJI makes a great drone. They make a great product. So that's why they're the #1 in the world. However, what I do is I take their product, and I guess I kind of jazz it up a little bit. And an example of that would be this drone right here. So this is a Mavic Air 2. When you get it from the store, right? It's DJI's plain gray and easy to clean, simple. As you can see, DJI likes the gray, right? And basically, I add elements of the model car genre, so to speak. Model airplane, model car, model helicopter, with paint, vinyl, and we just kind of customize them to kind of make them more personal.
Now, is this still underweight, so it doesn't have to be registered?
So this one is not under 249 grams,
And what's
even if you buy it.
What is this one?
I'm not 100% on the weight on this one.
I mean, what drone is this one?
Oh, this is the Mavic Air 2.
Okay.
Mavic Air 2, Mavic Air 2S, so the souped up version of this one. And then this is the big brother of both of them, which is the Mavic 3.
Okay.
I love all these drones. And
So all three of these have to be registered?
all three of them have to be registered because you are above 249 grams.
Right.
And that is everything, the battery, the landing gear, everything that you have on that drone when it takes flight has to weigh underneath
Okay.
the FAA regulations.
So the one you built for me, it was still underweight, so it didn't have to be registered, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So I think we added a landing gear. And I have a little scale. So what I do when I build in, when I do the minis, weight's a big. It's important to people that are flying the minis, and so they want to stay underweight, right? So they
Right.
don't have to register the drone and do all this extra stuff. And if you're a recreational pilot, you know, you want to just go out, you want to be safe, you want to have fun, but you don't want to have to worry about the registration stickers and all that kind of stuff.
How hard is it to get registered?
Pretty easy.
Does it cost a lot?
I think for like the 5-year registration, I think it's 2 or 3 years.
No.
Or sorry, for a 2 or 3 year registration, it's like $5, and then you take the first test. I guess I wouldn't even call it a test. You watch it kind of like a PowerPoint, and you do answer some questions, but it's kind of a no-fail test. And the FAA offers it for free to all recreational pilots. It's only until you hit the commercial level or the professional level, which they call Part 107, and then you have to actually go to a testing location, like at an airport, and take a test on GPS coordinates, weather, all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Now, the drone that I'm giving away for the channel is going to be. We already have a winner. I just can't say his name yet.
All right. Gotcha.
We're giving him the Mavic Mini 2.
Mini 2, great drone.
And can you explain the difference between the three on them as well?
So the Mavic Mini 2, when it came out, obviously there's a Mini 1, right?
Which I love flying that drone.
And it's a great
amazing.
drone. So my opinion, DJI doesn't really make toys, so to speak. I think all of their drones for the last 5-10 years, they all have, except for the FPV stuff, they all have gimbals on them and 3-axis, 2-axis gimbals, and so that allows you some really smooth shooting.
Right.
1080p, 2.7, 4K, and it just goes up and up and up from there. The Mini 2 shoots, I think, I'm trying to remember the specs on it, 4K. I think they beefed up the motors a little bit. It's still a sub 249 gram drone, and what I have found is as you add stuff to the minis, I actually have a scale, so as I'm building stuff, I weigh it, because again, it's important to recreational pilots or guys that want to stay underweight. DJI gives you, at least in my experience, they give you a little wiggle room. So even though printed on the side of the drone it says 249 grams, it's not exactly 249 grams. It's under that to allow for
add-ons,
few accessories. Not much.
So like my landing gear and maybe a strobe light.
And that's probably about it, to be honest with you.
With the paint.
Paint is, I've even weighed them after. I weighed yours, I think. I sent you a picture of with the weight, with the paint and the weight, and it was like, it came up like 248.
Oh.
Point.
Now, did you see my drone flight in the Yukon where I almost lost it?
I don't think so, not that one.
So it got caught in a windstorm. I was flying in the Yukon and it took off and I thought my drone was gone. I was walking away sad, you know. I'm like, you know, that it was just gone. It came back.
Yep.
And the only thing I don't like about the Mavic Mini 1 is the fact that it doesn't have follow me mode.
Right.
It doesn't have, let's see, what else doesn't it have that I didn't like? The avoidance obstacle.
Avoidance.
And a few other things. God, what was the other one? I just had it and I can't remember, but there's like 3 of them now. Does the 2 and the 3 have those as well?
So every drone on this table right here, the Air 2, the Air 2S, and the Mavic 3, or they call it the Mavic 3 Standard, all 3 of these drones are above 249 grams. And so once you get above 249 grams, you start to add a few features. Other than the Mavic Mini 3 Pro is a lot of features in a sub 249 gram drone. So you do get obstacle avoidance, you do get a really good camera and some other things, the follow me, in a sub. But again, when you're dealing with a mini, the wind will toss it around.
Right, that's exactly what happened.
I have flown this one in some seriously strong wind out here where I am at in Lehigh, out in the West Desert. There's a herd of wild horses, pack of wild horses. You go out there and it gets really windy. I mean really windy, and I was cut through that wind. I was sitting all over with this one right here. Yeah, these 2 would even do better. Right, the bigger you go, the more they have a wind rating. Again, I don't have all the specs memorized because I mean, I close my eyes at night and all I see is drones, and I'm kind of drone crazy, I guess you could say. So
I want that one.
I have access to this. We're gonna fly this.
Sweet.
You're gonna fly this.
Sweet.
You're gonna fly them all.
All right. Now, do they all control from like our phones?
Yep, Android or Apple compatible. There are 2, in my experience, there are 2 schools of thought. Number 1 being, okay, you know, you've got your phone, everybody knows the size of a cell phone screen.
Okay.
And the phones that are coming out now are pretty good, pretty decent screens, but you're limited to screen size.
Right.
So, what I do is, this is an Apple Air 2, or iPad Air 2. Came out in, I want to say 2014, 2016-ish, maybe. However, really great screen. It just works really good with DJI drones. I fly every single one of these with this.
And now, how does it compare to where you can edit, and if you need to transfer it? Because I do all my editing from my phone. Is it easy to transfer the footage over to your phone so you can edit?
Yeah, if you want the, I can't remember the name of the mode. It has a quick transfer mode, so wireless, right?
Right.
But if you really want to get the quality, you pop the SD card out, you put it in an SD card reader, and you upload it that way, or download it to the device. That way you maintain your, I'm not a professional photographer, but you maintain the quality. The pixels and everything looks really sharp, really nice.
Okay.
So, but I fly with my Apple iPhone or this. I recently just purchased my very first smart controller, which is, the screen is built in to the actual controller itself. And the reason I did that is just strictly for convenience and to have another option.
Okay.
iPads, what I'm finding, and it's really hot lately out here, iPads don't like the heat.
Right.
They'll overheat in direct sunlight, and so then you got to get into your sunshades, your sun hoods, and stuff like that. The controller that the screen is built in is a little bit more robust. So I figured, what the heck, and I broke down and bought one actually tonight. So
another thing I didn't like about my very first drone that I had, not the one that you set me up with. You set me up with a really nice control system, so I don't have to take the plastic or anything off. The original stuff, I have to take my plastic off my phone and stuff, and it's a pain in the butt.
So that kind of leads us into mounting options. this is the RC-N1. That's the name of the controller. And as you see, it doesn't have the traditional antennas that stick
Right.
up. This little piece right here is actually your antenna. And it actually has a greater range. And if I remember correctly, somewhere around, now what the box says and what it will really do in a real world environment are two different things. What the box is telling us is 10, 11 miles, I think. I remember.
Wow.
Yeah. There's too much stuff in the atmosphere going on, right? Magnetic fields, EMI, radio signals, blah, 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 blah. So you're not going to get that. And you're going to lose video transmission. So your screen's going to go black. But you still have control of your drone. But if you don't know that and you're not experienced, at least to that level, you're going to freak out. Luckily, DJI has return to home mode, and once it actually loses signal, not video transmission, but signal, it will come back.
Now, my very, very first drone I had, before I got from you, I have it actually on video of one of my flights, and I was filming a cliffside, and I hit return to home, and it came back, but then it crashed down. It didn't even make it home. And I heard it was because that the return to home wasn't too great on the first Mavic Mini 1s. Has that been updated and changed?
So DJI pushes out firmware, right, with their stuff, and it's just like the cell phones, right? You get a new version of iOS every other week,
Right.
and you got to do an update. And so they're pushing out. They're still supporting Mavic Mini 1 first gen. They're still supporting that with firmware. However, there are two things that just come to mind off of face value. Number one, you don't have obstacle avoidance right on the first minis.
Right.
Number two, it's been a while since I've actually flown the minis, since I've kind of jumped up to these
Right,
bigger
of
ones.
course.
I cannot remember for sure, but these have return to home altitude settings.
Right.
You might remember better than I do if the minis have that.
Yeah, they do too.
So, I mean, if you didn't literally run into something, maybe
It would
there was
come to
another-
home, yeah.
Yeah, there was another problem, and that's kind of one of those things you'll never know, right?
Right.
It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Now, when I was doing a flight in Alaska, it's also on video. I was flying along the ocean. And I was catching that bluff shot. And I forgot about the ocean front, and I forgot about the bluff behind me. And I sent it back up into the mountain and crashed it. And my buddy Derek that owns the lodge was able to do something where I was able to go back and track it and find the drone exactly where it
Yep.
was.
Yep.
And that was from the Mini.
Yeah, so from the Mini up, and these all have that same feature. It's called Find My Drone.
Right.
If you have an iPad or an iPhone, you have Find My iPad, Find My Phone.
Right.
Same
And
principle.
I'm not saying that the first Mini is a bad drone. It's a great little drone
It
to
was
fly.
an awesome drone.
Yeah.
And
It still is
and still is.
for a beginner. So
It's a great, if you don't want to get a toy. My first drone was from Home Depot for $45. And I mean, and I took it apart, and I just something resonated with me, and I really just started getting into drones. And now I fly one as my job, part-time or as needed, for public safety.
Right.
Let's say that. And the drone I have at work is a thermal drone, so it's this exact drone with a different camera setup
right.
on it. But yeah, my first drone was from Home Depot, and like I said, $40, and I am adding I'm duct taping extra batteries onto it to get more flight time out of it. It was a toy,
Right.
but that's kind of where I started down that road, and now it's all out.
Yeah, my first flight I ever took was from a really cheap drone, and it just wouldn't stay in there. It kept falling and crashing. And I filmed that, the very first time, because I thought it was a cool video to start learning from when I started.
Absolutely.
So
how you know you're dealing with a quality drone like a DJI. DJI is my preferred brand, but there are other good drone makers out there. Don't get me wrong. Autel, everybody likes Autel. They're not quite as large. I've never flown Autel, but I hear they make an awesome product.
now, the guy that ended up winning the drone, I can't give out his name because he doesn't know yet. He wanted to know the comparison between the Mavic Mini 2 and 3 and the cost on them.
So there's a 3, so there is a Mavic Mini 2, there's a Mavic Mini 2 SE, that's a 3K.
And which one is he getting?
He's getting the 2.
Okay.
And then you jump up to the 3. There's a Mini 3 Standard and a Mini 3 Pro. So the difference, they look different. I have some, they're in pieces. So, I mean, I was going to bring them out, but anyway, they're crashed.
Right.
They're in the shop. They're going to go back to DJI and get fixed up. Really, between a 2 and a 3 Standard, maybe the way it looks, I'm not sure on the camera features, there might be some subtle differences there.
Like more obstacle,
There is no obstacle avoidance on the Mini 2 and the Mini 3 Standard. To get obstacle avoidance in a mini drone that DJI makes, you need to jump up to the Mini 3 Pro.
Which one is that? Do you have one of those?
I don't have one here. I sold them all.
Right, of course.
People love them.
Oh.
Absolutely love them because you're talking
So-
about all the bells and whistles, but in a teeny little package.
Is the Mini 2 still a great drone compared to the 1?
Phenomenal drone. They made improvements on the 1, right? They come out with the next generation, the Mini 2. It's really weird. I don't know why they came out with the Mini 2 SE, but if you recall, they came out with the Mini 1 SE. So it's the Mini 1, so it's their flagship model, and then kind of a slightly watered down version, the SE version. They did the same thing with the Mini 2. So there's a Mini 2, just straight Mini 2, and then there's a Mini 2 SE.
Okay.
What they did with that was they went from that old black controller that you have,
Right, which I like.
which is a good controller,
Right.
to actually flying the Minis with this now. So the Mini 2 and the Mini 2 SE use this controller.
Which it looks like it's a little bit easier to connect, so I don't have to take my case and everything off.
Right, a little
Okay.
bit more robust, spring loaded here. If you wanted to add on some accessories like this, where you can do a tablet mount,
All right. Nice.
that folds down like that. You also have a lanyard grip, so that just clicks right in there.
Nice.
This will hold the iPad in there, so you can just literally let go and kind of do what you're doing,
Right.
without having to disconnect, shut it off, set it down on the hot, dirty ground, dust, whatever.
So with the person that's won the Mini 2, is he going to be a lot happier with
I think so.
over the 1? Okay.
I think so. Again, I know a little bit about the person, so I'm not going to give them
Right.
anything. If they are experienced in the drone world, then I think the Mini 2 will be fantastic for them.
Great.
It'll
Oh.
be an upgrade from a Mini 1 or any other drone that they had. Once you go from I'm going to say non-DJI drone to a DJI drone, it kind of ruins you for everything else. To be
Right.
honest with you. I mean, it just did. I don't know what else to say other than they nailed it. They know what they're doing. They've got the quality down. They're top of their game.
Awesome. So sorry, I say a lot.
No.
On these drones, do we fly the app from the same app?
DJI Fly. So that's
The same
app.
app every single one.
So the same one that flies your minis, the Mini 1, the Mini 2, the Mini, will fly every single one.
Awesome. Well,
Other than this one, if you get the smart controller, but the Pro version that they just came out with, that has a screen built in it,
Right.
it uses a different app that's built in to that controller. And the way that controller, that's the one I use at work. That controller was described to me as basically, it's a tablet with
Okay.
a controller built around it.
yeah, I saw those.
So
Second question is how much trouble can you get in flying a drone not being registered, or they have to be registered?
So you can get yourself where we are. I'll give you an example. So where we are right now, we are in the vicinity of a military installation.
Okay.
We are in the facility of a federal government installation, within miles of here with airspace, protected airspace. So actually, before you came down, I checked the airspace. So I'm a Part 107 pilot. That means I just went through the testing and the training, and I've got my credentials, if you will.
Right.
So I fly with caution. I err on the side of caution. The golden rule of drones is you are unmanned, so you make way for any manned aircraft. There's altitude limitations, right?
Right.
400 feet without any restrictions on your airspace is as high as drones can go, unless we're going over an obstacle.
But then you
or
have to
something.
come right
Yeah,
back
you gotta
down.
Come back down and all that stuff. So I don't want to give a whole class on that.
Right.
However, you can find yourself in a world of trouble if you're not smart and cautious.
So I've had people when out in the lodge when we were in Alaska, they kept saying, how come you can't fly very high? Well, we have like an airspace and planes fly right above us all the time. And I have a video that actually shows that I was flying and he flew and I had to drop my plane or my drone down and he flew right over the top of my drone and I just had to like let go of the paddles and everything and let him fly over the drone.
Yep. And that's exactly the thing they teach us in our when you get up to take the commercial license.
Right.
That's exactly what you make way immediately.
Yeah, I didn't want to fly it anymore. I just dropped it down and let go of the controls and just let it sit there and hover, and I captured it. So I was hoping I did that right. But they've always been saying, you don't fly your drones very high. And I'm like, well, this is the reason why. So
I have an app on so this iPad is dedicated to my drones and flying and that.
Right.
And then my cell phone is just the everyday cell phone, but I have apps on both. I pull out the app, punch, it gives me my GPS coordinates, it gives me the airspace.
The OpenFly app, I use that one.
There's OpenFly, there's Aloft, and I think there's Before You Fly.
Right.
And so it's one of those, I open it up, check the airspace, check the TFRs, temporary flight restrictions, anything that the FAA has put out. And I'll give you an example. Where we are right here, if we go a mile west, we're in restricted airspace. And once remote ID comes online, I don't know if you're familiar with that term, the FAA understands that this is such a growing, number one, a growing and popular hobby, but number two, a growing and popular, viable industry for commerce, for business, for public safety, search and rescue, huge in the drone world.
Right.
I mean, you can fly. The person who taught my class is an actual airline pilot, and so I got his perspective of being an actual airline pilot, but he is a drone instructor, and then he is a search and rescue coordinator. And hearing from him and seeing the drones that they have for search and rescue, they have payload capacities, and they can drop food and first aid and water and all that stuff. So
this is why I wanted to do this video just before we flew, because anybody in the future, if we give these things away, we want them to be educated on not what to do, so you guys don't get yourself in trouble. I've been flying my drone for a little bit. I am no expert at all, so this is nice to have the education on, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I love drones and love talking drones, love flying drones.
Awesome. I say let's fly some drones.
Let's fly. These two. So these are my, I guess you call them send it bags or whatever. Whoops. I don't know if I'm quite a crafter, but make these. We buy the bags in bulk, just plain ordinary bags, and then we heat press the vinyl on them. That's our logo, Madman Minis or UAV Pilot. Send it's kind of a military term. It's kind of a term like, hey, let's do this, let's bring it on. Kind of a rah, let's kind of pep you up a little bit. And then the morale patches.
Yeah, those are nice.
And you can customize them and set them up. Same thing with this one right here. To customize it and set it up. That one's heat pressed on, so that's kind of what we got going. And then we do some of this other stuff there. in addition to doing the drones.
So I think what we're gonna do is, because I guess you're gifting me both of these.
I'm gifting both of these to you.
Both of these to me. So the guy who won the Mini 2 drone, we're gonna give him that bag along with the drone.
Awesome.
All right. So I appreciate it.
So there you go. That's just, I mean, Ed was one of the first people that I started talking to when I did this venture. I didn't really know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm doing when it comes to social media. And he kind of took me under his wing, gave me some pointers, and I appreciated what he's done for me. So this is the first time we've actually met face to face. We talked a lot online, but so it's good to meet Ed and start a friendship.
Yeah, and just so you know, he is law enforcement too, and that's what part of his job is about. So this is great that he gets to come out and enjoy his free time from protecting all of us. So we're gonna have to get him some Traeger food here one of these days. So you get some ribs.
Oh yeah, the ribs.
So appreciate it, and thank you for your service too.
No problem, man. No problem.
So I say let's fly some drones.
All right. And that's just obstacle avoidance. It's got sensors all around this drone. How far is it?
guys, so just kind of showing you. We're 400 feet and we went 1,500 feet out, and the drone is on his way back. And what drone was this one?
Mavic Air 2. There it is. Yep. I don't see it. There you go. Crap, it's on now. So it's going to stop. It's going to hover. And it's going to come down. And it is just a little bit of a issue. It's going to stop. It'll stop. Stop, stop. It'll stop. And then it's going to stop. It'll stop. It'll stop. Yeah, we're going to miss the move. So what we want to do is when we're coming down, you can control it. So we're moving it. I know exactly what other way to do it. That's the great thing about this. You can steer as you're coming down. Oh. So, you know, make sure your obstacles are good, make sure there's no traffic, trees, buildings. So the drone will land itself. Okay. You just, if it needs a little help, it's okay to help it. And we want to land right here. Slow it down. Push up on the up. If you want to stop it, just in, just push up. There you go. And just inch over the right here. There you go. So it's called assisted landing. It helps you. Bring it in a little bit.
It's my turn to go fly the drone. This is me flying. Let's see how I do. again, this is the Mavic Air 2. This is a pretty badass little drone. I love it. Mavic Mini Air 2 will fly miles and miles, and I'm not sure at what point I reach 400 feet, but I'll let you know. We can't cross over the highway because it goes into an Air Force base. This drone is the Mavic 3, and it's like a $2,600 drone, and this is 400 feet in the air.
That was one battery. We did all that flying.
Utah County, and we lifted off from the house.
All the cameras.
Brady Warner and Philip Redfern, you said you wanted high at 400 feet. There you go.
They actually threw in upward-looking sets. Look at the front of these. Okay. Look at the front of those. Right. Sensor, 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 sensor. They threw in an extra set. That looks up. And look at the cameras. This one has a wide lens. This one has a better camera. This one has. So
You guys listening to our conversation from filming.
professional cinematography because of the camera. Again, you know, if you want the drone, a battery, and remote, or you want the kit that built for you. So I was selling these.
It was kind of hard to land.
With an iPod, fly. These were $850. Really don't think I can go
I feel a lot more confident in the drone flying. I was about ready to give up. And I'm really glad that I got a chance to go out and sponsor. I appreciate you guys, and thank you for watching. We have
You get a little
free
more
merch
camera.
coming soon,
An extra set of
and I'm going to
sensors.
do a bunch of giveaways here, so stay tuned to the channel too.
I mean, it's, I say we would, don't have to fly this one. I'd say
Let's jump up to this one. It's the same drone.
yeah, so that's what I'm getting out of with only those two, but I really like this one.
So we'll throw the. So I make so yeah you gave me. So these are my new high Yep. Yep. So it's called Civil Twilight. You're only required to have
Look at that sunset, man. Isn't that awesome from Utah?
Because you can control this with this, and then this has a and it's now it doesn't look right now. We'll go through the colors. That's awesome. I mean, you can literally look outside.
Because I'm thinking, I mean, I'm not saying I have to love my
This,
I've been doing that.
and then I can move that
Jerry Brackett, you want to go fly some drones with me?
Compact weight, handle it okay. Oh, so you can drop water into somebody. How far will this guy fly?
This one, I have to check the specs, but it's
Yeah, see, I've never done
Yeah. And now that you're moving up to something bigger, you want the bigger
yeah,
screen.
for sure. I've seen it.
I'll just have to give you a hood, sun shield. It just pops on right here and keeps your iPad safe. So, come with 3 batteries. And here's the thing. So, I paint the tops. Now, see, this comes right off.
Alright guys, that may have seemed like a couple of hours to you guys. Don't really, that was like maybe 2 seconds. To us, it's been a couple hours.
We've been hanging out. So we're talking drone stuff here. I'm learning.